Welcome, 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 welcome. Give me a sec, y'all. Give me a sec. Okay, all right. We here. Welcome, 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 welcome. It's your man, God of Dots. I am back. Oh man, it feels relaxing. I feel very relaxed, very rejuvenated. Woo! Hope everybody just had a good week. Hope they had a safe Labor Day and all that good stuff. Oh man. I'm a bit rusty. I am a bit rusty. How you doing, Dr. Nikki, Miss Murph? How you doing? Yes, I am back off the vacay and really enjoyed myself. Had a chance to like really get away, not only from just the YouTube stuff, man, but just kind of get away from the world and just enjoy enjoy life, enjoy the spoils of your labor. All right, but we back, man. We back. Week one kickoff last night. If you missed it, Detroit pulled it out 21-20 over the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to kind of do a quick recap on that game, kind of some of the stuff I saw. Important thing about not necessarily week one. I would say like the first four weeks of the season is more of a for me is more of a filling out process. I'm not going to get too high. I'm not going to get too low over who wins, who loses. I mean, it's early in the season. Teams are still kind of figuring out who they are, what kind of style they want to play, incorporate new pieces, and that kind of stuff. You see the man up on your screen there, Joe Burrow, new richest paid player in the NFL, and this is to kind of get me in the mood, because I don't play music over here. To kind of get me in the mood for week one. Let's go. Oh yeah, I'm back, man. I'm woo. The season is back. Football is back. College football kicked off real big last weekend. I did catch some of the game with the Colorado Buffaloes Dion's team. Upsetting TCU and a very good game. Got to kind of keep an eye on Colorado. Keep an eye on Colorado. But tonight we focus it in on the NFL. We're back. Week one, like I said, week one kicked off last night. Oh man, very good game. All things considered, the absence of Travis Kelsey and Chris Jones was real evident, especially the second half of that game. Kadarius Toney, hands of brick. You making me look bad with my preseason pick, man. You're making me look bad. I thought they was gonna come out and be a lot more effective, but hey, Detroit is a team. If you watched the show last season, I was real high on Detroit as being my dark horse. This season, I had them coming in. I had Detroit, going on to win the division. So it's not Detroit beating Kansas City. I think people are really going to start to see what kind of team Detroit has rolling out this season. Last night was a good display of the new mentality, some of the new pieces that they have on the defensive side of the ball. It's going to be a very good season for Detroit. I'm not going to get too down on Kansas City. Hey, you without Travis Kelsey, arguably the best tight end pass catching wise in the NFL, and you were without Chris Jones in the middle of that defense. Defense played okay, but like I said, defense played okay. Left a lot to be desired. Left some plays out there on the field, but overall, a very good game. And we're gonna kind of look forward to some more big games this upcoming weekend. Like I said, week one, man. Yes, don't overreact to what you're seeing. This is the first game of the season. Typically, I don't really start getting concerned or getting worried about anybody performance at least until like week five. Week five is kind of like you kind of worked out the kinks. Just week one, I look at that as the extension of the preseason. Some teams come out ready to play, some don't. But I don't get too I don't overreact to week one. But hey, we're gonna kind of break it down. We're gonna start. Since we got them up on the screen, we're gonna go ahead and start with the game. Sunday afternoon game. Cincinnati Bengals versus Cleveland Browns. Now, I did have Cincinnati winning the division. Cincinnati is in my top tier of AFC teams, most likely to push for the AFC Championship, push for the Super Bowl. Cincinnati, I'm leaning. In this particular game. I think Cincinnati comes out and plays well offensively. I was, my concerns with the Cincinnati Bengals this upcoming season was going to be what they're going to do on the defensive side of the ball. And I think Deshaun Watson comes out with a point to prove week one of the NFL season. Typically, when week 1 through 4, the offenses are having to kind of play catch up, kind of get in rhythm, kind of get in sync, because most of those guys don't really play through the preseason. And defense typically has the advantage to do the first couple of weeks of the season. Typically, some instances you see offenses kind of get off and rolling. Kansas City is a prime example of that last season. But in this game right here, I'm leaning towards Cleveland beating Cincinnati at home. Cleveland comes in arguably one of the best running back in the NFL, and Nick Chubb. I think Deshaun Watson comes out with a point to prove, to show that he still got it. The reports I've been getting out of that camp, as far as the Browns, as far as how Deshaun looked in practice and that kind of stuff, have been promising. I was kind of on the fence with Cleveland. I think Cleveland is one of my borderline playoff teams. I didn't have them in there, but if they do make the playoffs, I'm not going to say that I'm surprised when you really look at the talent level that they have on both sides of the ball at certain key positions. They can compete with anybody. Like I said, Joe Burrow got paid, highest paid NFL player in NFL history, $219 million guaranteed. I was surprised, they kind of got that deal done right before the season started. Thought that, it was going to kind of drag on, but now that they got Joe Burrow out of the way, we're going to see if they're going to be able to keep those pieces around him. But that's a story for another day. Week 1, I got to go Cleveland. I'm not going to look at this as an upset. I think Cleveland is a very good team. I don't think people are really going to give them credit because, the faith in Deshaun Watson has wavered, based on his time being missed. People just don't like him personally. But I think Cleveland is in prime position, home game against Cincinnati to kind of pull out the dub. You pick Cincy, okay? I mean, that's cool. I'm not going to argue with that. It's kind of a toss-up game for me. Also on the 1:00 slate, you have Texans over the Texans Ravens. No way I'm picking against the Ravens against the Texans. I like what I saw from the Texans as far as like some of the improvements that they made to the team. I do like DeMeco Ryans, the new head coach. I think he's going to come in and be successful long term. But I don't see them beating. I don't see them beating Baltimore, and no shame in not being able to do that. Baltimore is tier 2, but it's very close to being a tier 1 team. I think Lamar Jackson comes out very motivated to remind the NFL just who he is. I think the time being off last season allowed him to kind of get himself healthy, and I'm curious to see what Odell kind of looks like out there in live action, catching bullets from Lamar. So I got Baltimore over the Texans. I think the Texans will be a much improved team, but I don't know how that translates to wins and losses. I think with the new regime, new head coach, quarterback, new defensive mentality on that side of the ball, I think Texans going to be a tough out for a lot of teams. I just don't see them beating a lot of teams. But hey, week 1, we're just going to kind of keep focused on that. I got Baltimore. Over the Texans. Next game up for the week 1 slate, Tampa Bay against Minnesota. I don't really care about this game. I'm gonna be honest with you. Baker Mayfield's debut as starting quarterback for Tampa Bay. I've seen enough of Baker Mayfield to last me a lifetime. He's just a guy. And even though I'm not a big Kirk Cousins fan, I think Kirk Cousins comes out, plays well in this particular game. He typically doesn't start showing his true colors till it's money time. We're talking about December, maybe January, till we see the real Kirk Cousins. So I think Kirk Cousins and this offense gets it done. I think Justin Jefferson comes out with a point to prove. I know him and Tyreek Hill have talked about chasing that mythical 2,000 yards receiving in a season. I think Calvin Johnson still holds the record for a season, but I think Minnesota kind of comes out, jumps on top of Tampa Bay. I don't think Tampa Bay has the offensive firepower or the offensive scheme to really compete with Minnesota, kind of keep it in the up and down race. Minnesota's defense is, I mean, it can be had, but I don't think Tampa Bay has the pieces in place to really take advantage of that. So I'm going Minnesota. I'm the line on. I'm gonna go two digits, double digits win for Minnesota. See, we on the same page. Like I said, week 1, It's more of a pick 'em in some of these games. Some of these games, not so much. A very interesting NFC South game. I'm going to be kind of checking out this weekend. It's going to be down in Atlanta. You got Carolina Panthers against the Falcons. And this division, I broke down this division earlier. If you didn't see it, hey, go back and catch the replay. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thumbs up, thumbs down, leave comments. This division was kind of a toss up for me. I think Carolina has the best defense in the division. Atlanta does boast the best running game in this division. So this game for me is kind of a toss up. You got Bryce Young starting at quarterback. Desmond Ritter, he had a couple starts last season, but he's penciled in as QB1 for Atlanta. It's kind of a toss up game for me. Typically with these NFC South games, if you watched them last year, most of these games were kind of toss ups. There wasn't no clear defined lead dog in this division. I think this division can be had by any of them. Depending on who you want to side with, or you can make a case for all of them. But this particular game, debut quarterback, he's going against a very suspect defense in Atlanta, who really hasn't been able to generate a pass rush in years. I don't think I don't think Bryce Young is going to be up under a lot of duress. But I do like the running attack. I do like the offensive scheme that Atlanta runs. Even though Panthers, I do think still has the best defense in the division. I wouldn't call this an upset pick, but I'm gonna go with Atlanta. I'm gonna go Atlanta over the rookie. I think he's gonna come out and play okay. I don't think anybody expects Bryce Young to blow the doors off, especially when you look at the offensive weapons that he has on that side of the ball. I don't think he's gonna go out there and light it up. Hey, I may be wrong. Hey, it's week 1. I'm just picking them. Based on what I've seen the preseason and team breakdowns and all that kind of stuff. I got Atlanta taking this one. Next game up on the slate, you have the Arizona Cardinals against Washington Commanders. I will say this about Washington. This is what you look at as a trap game. Not much is expected of the Arizona Cardinals, considering that Murray is not going to be starting at quarterback. You should Washington. You should come out here and comfortably beat up on the Arizona Cardinals, and don't have much of a run game to be talking about. No starting quarterback of note. The defense got worse in the offseason. Washington, this is a game you should clearly win comfortably. It shouldn't be that much of a stretch, but hey, this is Sam Howell's first season as a starter. It may be some growing pains, but when you can depend on the run game that they have, the receiving core that they do have, and the defense that they have in Washington. Like Washington was one of my surprise teams. I want to say, did I pick Washington to be my dark horse out of the NFC? And I don't say that too often, especially when I'm talking about teams in my division. Don't say that too often, but I like Washington to win this game comfortably. I don't think it'd be too much of a challenge. Consider it, Arizona as a team and as a franchise, as a team in flux. Then nothing, no real identity. So hey, Washington, you need to come out here and take care of business and take care of business comfortably. I'm going to be watching you, Washington, not because you're just in my division, but we're going to see is Sam Howell the answer at quarterback. Sam Howell the answer at quarterback. And will Ron Rivera get off to a winning start? I think he will. I think Washington goes out there and take care of business. Next up on the slate, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars going in Indianapolis. I'm looking at this game, and I know a lot of people are high on Jacksonville, based off the success they had last season. But when I look at them last season, this wasn't a team that really jumped off the paper to me. This wasn't really a team that I saw as up and coming. I know a lot has been made about, Trevor Lawrence is ready to take off. Trevor Lawrence is ready to jump into that top tier level of quarterback. From what I saw last year, I didn't see it. Something about this game. You're on the road. Anthony Richardson starting. Something about this game makes me think it's going to be a kind of a funny game to kind of pick. I know a lot of people are picking Jacksonville. They're the presumed favorite to win the division. But I got the Colts. I got the Colts in this one. I think the Colts kind of put it together. I think Jacksonville Takes a while to kind of get going. Offensively, you are integrating Calvin Ridley in to this receiving core. Now I've seen Trevor Lawrence enough. I think he's a very good quarterback, but he's kind of up and down. I think this is going to be one of those down games. And when you think about it, Jacksonville, if it wasn't for Tennessee falling off last year, on the back half of the season, it wasn't like Jacksonville was going out there rolling on people. They just won enough games to kind of push it to the last week of the season, and with the injuries that Tennessee had at certain positions, it just wasn't a fair fight. But I got the Colts. I got the Colts in upset against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm just not 100% sold on Trevor Lawrence. Talent wise, I think he's there. But I just haven't seen a consistent play out of Trevor Lawrence to justify riding that hard with Jacksonville this year. So I got Colts in this one. Another interesting game, all things considered. Probably when I look at the schedule, and I'm looking at the week 1 schedule, probably the most. I would probably say up there with probably the most competitive game. Especially if we're talking about a week 1, you're talking about San Francisco 49ers traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. I know Bosa just got paid for the 49ers. Congratulations to him for getting his money. But y'all know I had the Steelers as my dark horse. We're gonna see very early on in the season, is Brock Purdy as good as advertised? He kind of took the NFL by storm. He used to do Darling Child. You have some people kind of talking about him like he's the next Brady. You pump your brakes. Guy hasn't done anything just yet. I mean, he had a good opening stanza last year, but now you're starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. You're expected to compete for the NFC Championship. You're expected to compete for the Super Bowl. That's a different kind of a pressure to have on you, and all eyes are on you. You are the NFL's new darling quarterback. They're trying to build him up, and I've seen some stuff, man. They're trying to build this guy up like he's the next Brady. He came out of nowhere. People didn't see his talent level. Like, pump your brakes. Dude was a 7th round pick for a reason. Now I may end up being wrong sometime down the road, years down the road, if Brock Purdy pans out and be the quarterback that the San Francisco 49ers think he's going to be when they traded Trey Lance. I'm just not that sold on Brock Purdy. Now the team as a whole, I think the team is in prime position to compete for the NFC Championship. I expect them to be in the hunt for the number 1 seed for a majority of the season. But something about this game, and I don't think people are really paying attention to Pittsburgh because they don't have the sexy players. They don't have the guys that's on the ads. Kenny Pickett is not a guy. A lot of people in the media have gotten behind and have really kind of watched him. He took his lumps last year, and then he played like a rookie was supposed to play. He took his lumps last year. I think he learned a lot. I think the Steelers come out very well this season, but this game right here, I'm not sold on Brock Purdy, but I do think the 49ers win a very close game. Pittsburgh is not a team that routinely gets the doors blown off them. It just doesn't happen. Mike Tomlin's team doesn't typically get ran off the field. But I think this is one of the most competitive games this opening stance. We're going to see if Brock Purdy is as good as advertised very early on in the season. I know 49ers fans are hoping that he pans out. Hope he's the next Joe Montana or whatever they're building him up to be. But I'm just not seeing it. But I think we're going to see enough in this game where the 49ers, edged out. I think this game comes down to about a field goal. I think this game comes down to a field goal. I don't think either one of these offenses is going to be going up and down the field on the other. I don't think 49ers, as much as they have skill player, Brock Purdy is the question for me. But yeah, this is one of the better games. 1 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. Man, Sunday I'm going to be locked in. I ain't gonna have time for other stuff. Speaking of other stuff, going to the next game, Titans and Saints. I'm not looking forward. Hope they don't. This is not one of those primetime games they have on TV. I hope not. Tennessee, trying to regain the magic after falling off last season. Tannehill slated to come back, be the starting quarterback. Saints roll out their Derek Carr as the starter. when I broke down the NFC South, I said this was a very weird division because quarterback wise, the Saints have the best quarterback in that division. But I don't know if they have necessarily the best team in that division. So it's kind of a pick 'em. This game right here is kind of a pick 'em. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna be watching this one too closely unless somebody goes off offensively or somebody has a very bad game. I'm not gonna be watching this one too closely. But hey, that's just me. Yeah, I don't think either of these teams is going to be making any noise anyway. This season is kind of like a throwaway game for me. And in that sense, the Saints at home. I got Tennessee. I got Tennessee coming out against the Saints. I think it takes a little bit of time for Derek Carr to kind of get his legs up under him. I think he'll be better as the season progresses in this offense. But I think he kind of gets off to a little bumpy start against Tennessee. I think Tennessee leaning on Derrick Henry in that run game, get that play action game going like they're supposed to. They did bring in D-Hop. So you do have a legitimate number one wide receiver on the outside. I think Tennessee does enough on the road week one to kind of get the dub over the Saints. But I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna be watching this one too closely. Rivalry game, the rivalry games. There's a couple of them, a couple interdivisional games. This season, one of them. This week, one of them in particular, Raiders and Broncos. Can Sean Payton right the ship in Denver? Are we going to see the same Russell Wilson we saw last year, or will we see the Russell Wilson that we have grown accustomed to since his time of being in the NFL? I'm not sure. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not sure because he played bad last year. Played bad last year. And I didn't hear any reports of he was playing with an injury or any of that kind of stuff. He just played bad. Outside of them adding a head coach, this team didn't really do a lot to kind of change some of the pieces that they have there defensively. Defensively, I think they're fine, but offensively, it's okay. When it comes down to Russell Wilson, is he going to come out and play the same way he did last year? If he does, he might be looking at his last, his last ride with the Broncos. And with the Raiders, you should have Jimmy G starting the quarterback. There's a lot of turmoil, a lot of stuff being said about the team, about the organization. So, it's kind of a toss-up game. I'm gonna have to go Broncos at home. I think Sean Payton does enough with the scheme, does enough with the game plan to overcome the Raiders. The Raiders are kind of in a weird position. They're one of those middle of the pack type teams coming into this season. Don't do anything particularly well on offense. Don't do anything particularly well on defense. They don't have a real signature calling card. At least with the Broncos, I know they're going to be going out there with the best defense on the field. And I think that carries them. I don't think this will be a high scoring game, but hey, that's just me thinking that. I'm not expecting too much offensive fireworks from this game, but I do think the Broncos do enough at home to hold on to the win. I got the Broncos winning by a touchdown. I got them winning by a touchdown, maybe a closer game than that, but I got Broncos in that one. Next up, afternoon games for Sunday. Eagles, Patriots. I'm not even going to really give a preview on that. I don't know what the hell they're doing there in New England as far as I don't know what Bill Belichick's mindset is for this team. But New England is just like in a weird. I'm gonna say this. Let me kind of segue out of this for a second. They have been in a very weird spot since Brady left. Now I know it's hard to move on from a legend at the quarterback position, but this team just doesn't seem to have a direction. I mean, what do the Patriots do well? We may be looking at the last season as Bill Belichick being a head coach. I mean, I know, typically he has a game plan, but they just don't have the pieces on the defensive side of the ball, the offensive side of the ball. Is this team sold on Mac Jones? Is Mac Jones a placeholder till they get to the draft and draft another quarterback? I don't know. But I don't have them beating the Eagles. I do have the Eagles making it to the Super Bowl. That's just me as an analyst, not me as a fan. That's just me as an analyst, not as a fan. Of course, as a fan, you know who I'm rolling with. We're gonna get to them because, as usual, prime time Sunday night game. Them boys, them boys. But yeah, I got the Eagles smoking the Patriots. I think the Eagles come out, try to send a statement to the rest of the NFL that last year wasn't a fluke. I think Jalen Hurts comes out um, on a real strong campaign to try to, let people know he should have been the MVP last year. He had a strong case for it. I think, him getting injured late in the season kind of derailed that for him, but I think he had a strong enough case. So if he'd been named MVP, I wouldn't have been mad. You wouldn't have heard me upset about it or object to it. And I think the Eagles come out with something to prove. They want to come out with something to prove. I think they jump all over the Patriots, mollywop them boys. I don't think it'll be a competitive game. This is not even a fair fight. Um, I can't think of one thing the Patriots do well, let alone do as well as the Eagles. I just don't see it. I'm surprised this is even. I mean, they got to play who they got to play. I mean, but yeah, I got Eagles big in this one. Other Sunday night afternoon games. Excuse me. You got Seahawks Rams. Another one of the games I'm not gonna be really interested in. I do know, the Rams are gonna try to make it competitive, but I think the Seahawks come out play very well. Only thing I would be concerned about if I'm a Seahawks fan is Geno Smith going to put on the same kind of performances he put on last season. I mean, this is the biggest question mark. It's not like this guy wasn't given opportunities to succeed in the NFL. This last season, he kind of took off. Will he be able to continue that for this upcoming season? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If you missed out on my Seahawks breakdown, hey, go check the channel out. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. But I don't see this game, you know, being must see TV. I really don't. I don't think the Rams, and they drafted a lot of guys. They have a lot of young players on this team. This is not a team that's going to be looking to compete anytime soon, especially this season. Maybe looking at the last ride for Aaron Donald or a Cooper Cup, maybe on the way out after the season. And just go ahead, tear it down. I mean, you mortgaged the future. You got what you wanted for it. You got you a Super Bowl title, and that should be well and found and dandy. So I got Seahawks at home against the Rams. Like I said, this is not much must see TV for me. Moving on. We're gonna getting ready to wrap it up here. Moving on, Dolphins and Chargers. Very, very interesting early season matchup against two teams who I have making the playoffs. I think each one of these teams is going to come out here and try to make a statement to the rest of the NFL. I think Tua is going to be on a mission to prove that he can stay healthy for an entire season, prove that he can be a franchise winning quarterback. But on the opposite side, Justin Herbert just got paid. Justin Herbert comes out with something to prove that, hey, he should be in that conversation when we're talking about top quarterbacks in this league as far as producing on the field and producing wins. Very, 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 very good matchup. One of probably, if I'm really going to be honest about it, probably the most interesting game this upcoming week one, because you have two teams, like I said, who are trying to make a statement. Both of these teams I have making the playoffs when it's all said and done. Dolphins have a potential to put up one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. On the opposite side, you have the Chargers who can do the same. I do like some of the additions that both teams made on the defensive side of the ball to improve that side of the ball. I think this comes down to a head-to-head matchup. You got Tua against Herbert, and I'm going to lean towards the Dolphins to take this game. I think this will be a very high score game. The reason why I'm picking the Dolphins, even though I think Justin Herbert is a better quarterback than Tua, I think Tua has better weapons on the outside than the Chargers. I just that's just my gut feel. Like I said, I think Herbert's a much better quarterback than Tua. But when you look at the offense, we're talking about not just the skill position. We're talking about the offensive line. Miami is just a little bit more talented on that side of the ball, and I think that kind of wins out today. I think it's going to be a high score game. I think both of these teams score over 25. Like I said, it's probably be the game of the week as far as if you're just looking for offensive explosion. I think Tua outduels Justin Herbert and wins a game, wins a very close game, high scoring, but I think it'll be a close game. But I got the Dolphins. I got the Dolphins taking that week one matchup. Um, Wrapping up the afternoon games on Sunday, you have the Chicago Bears against the Green Bay Packers. Um, Questions abound, and most of them at the quarterback position. When we're talking about the Green Bay Packers, what is Jordan Love going to look like? First official, real start. When all he's not filling in for the dearly departed Aaron Rodgers. What does Jordan Love look like? Former first round draft pick that sat on the bench all these years. Hope he learned something because we're about to see what he's working with. We're about to see what he's working with. I think Matt LaFleur is going to have him and an offense ready. But on the other side of the field, Justin Fields. What is Chicago going to do? Are they going to um, coach him up like they did the first part of the season when he was just getting beat up back there, trying to force him to be a pocket quarterback, or will he be unleashed like he was for about a 4 or 5 game stretch last season, where Chicago was one of those teams you did not want to see on the offensive side, just because of the kind of pressure that Justin Fields was putting on defenses? Will they let him continue that this upcoming season, or were they still trying to make this dude a pocket passer? Question mark, question mark. It's kind of a toss-up game for me. Kind of a toss-up game. Green Bay is much better than them defensively. Offensively, depending on how Chicago comes out here with the game plan with Justin Fields, kind of a toss-up. But I got Packers. I got Packers over the Bears. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a very close game. Um, but I just think Green Bay defensively, it's just that much better than the Bears. So, I mean, like I said, I like Justin Fields. Hopefully, they let him. They unleash him. Could be having a different conversation when we come back and break down these games later on during the week. But right now, I got Packers. Hold me to it. I know it's a Bears fan out there mad. Gator girl comes in here with the usual hate. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? I know it's been a minute. Let's see. Sunday night game. We're gonna wrap it up. The big Sunday night game. Seems like we always play the Giants on goddamn opening weekend. I know Gator girls picking the Giants. Of course I'm picking my boys, but I think this game will be a very competitive game. I think the Giants typically play us real close. And that's one thing I can say about the NFC East. When we play interdivisional games, typically these are very tough games. Traditionally, both teams know each other well, know what they like to do. Of course, I'm gonna pick my boys. Come on now. Of course, I'm gonna pick my boys. Are we gonna get good Dak this season, or are we gonna get what we got last season, which was turnover Dak? It's one thing to turn the ball over as a quarterback, but he has a habit of making those what I like to call them Tony Romo interception that just crushes a team. Like when you can at least afford to have an interception, Dak throws them just like Tony used to. But I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna be negative. I think the boys come out with the pieces that they added on offense. Some guys they added on the defense. I think the boys are that much better. I do have Dallas is on my tier one teams in the NFC. I do have the Giants on that second tier, but like I said, this is going to be a very interesting year for this division because clearly everybody's got Philadelphia being a favorite, and I get it as an analyst. I think Cowboys are going to be in the mix for the playoffs. Will the Giants be able to build upon what they did last season? Will Daniel Jones take that next step? I know I got a lot of flack last year for riding with Daniel Jones and saying telling Giants fans he wasn't as bad as you guys thought he was. I think are they going to be able to repeat that same formula of success this upcoming season? We'll see. We'll see. But for week one, of course I'm picking them boys. Of course I'm picking them boys. And as we kind of wrap up the week one picks, Sunday night game, Bills Jets, nationally televised debut for one, Aaron Rodgers, new quarterback for the Jets. I'm going to be looking at how he plays. I'm going to be looking at how they integrate Dalvin Cook, the running back they signed in the offseason, to this team. I'm just going to be looking at the body language and the tone of the Jets. for this one. Buffalo comes in, of course, with Super Bowl aspirations. Had a very good run last year, came up short in the playoffs. Um, I talked about Buffalo, what they needed to do this upcoming season. If Josh Allen ends up being your leading running back, um, it's going to be much of the same. I think, if that's the formula for your success, you're going to end up falling short. But as far as this week one matchup, I know a lot of people are excited about Aaron Rodgers coming to the Jets and thinking he's going to take off. And like they got all these, it's going to be running up and down the field. Pump your brakes, pump your brakes, pump your brakes. I think the Jets will be a competitive team this season. But, I'm going to stick to Rock Chalk and I'm going to go Bills. I'm going to go Bills taking the over week one. I think it takes a while for Aaron Rodgers to kind of get in rhythm with some of his receivers. I know he's been doing a lot of work in the training camp and the off season, trying to build a rapport with these guys. But Buffalo's not one of them teams that allows you to kind of really run up and down the field on them. So I think Josh Allen does enough, makes enough plays to kind of win this thing. So it'll be a very close game. We kind of within 6 for this one. So yeah, those are my week one picks. What we do for housekeeping, how I'm going to kind of do this. Tuesday, I'll be back Tuesday over here to break down the week one games, especially after the Monday night game. We're going to do a breakdown on Tuesdays, and I think Thursdays. What I'll do is I'll do like the preview show. I know we do have the Thursday night games. I'll kind of talk about that, and then we'll kind of do a preview for the week two, and that's what we'll do Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll kind of be our get together times as far as the pickups and stuff like that. Anything else that kind of comes across the waiver wire, comes across the news, may do an impromptu show, may do an upload. I don't know. Just stay tuned. But yeah, we'll be back Tuesday over here. Probably doing I think maybe 8 o'clock is a good time for these shows over here. And yeah, if I'm kind of done with the week one stuff, but let me kind of let me kind of say this while I'm over here before the rest of the night kind of goes off. It felt good. It felt good to get away, man. It felt good to get away, and sometimes you have to kind of get away and turn this stuff off. And and I felt not that I don't feel at peace anyway, but I just didn't feel the need to be everywhere. I didn't feel the need to be seen. I was like, I'm just going to enjoy vacation. That's what that's what it's for. Enjoy your time off, spend time with your family, focus on having fun, not being worried about the he say she say. I enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna start taking more breaks in regards to that. Sometimes you just gotta just like just cut it off. Just cut it off. Yeah, I got my energy back. It's been a long time since I took a break, especially from this. Y'all know, those that are over here, y'all know, man. It's been a minute, but I needed a break. And I got it. And we're gonna get back to business. Like I said, Tuesday, we'll be doing a recap of all the week one picks. Thursday, we'll be doing a preview. What I'm hoping of doing, I'm gonna kind of test the waters out, but I'm gonna be we'll see. I'm working on some things as far as adding a little to the channel. Add a little to the channel, working on some stuff. But anyway, let me get my behind up out of here because y'all know I got to get prepared for just a little bit of fuckery. Just a little bit. I ain't gonna be doing too much. Just a little bit. But as always, man, appreciate everybody for watch the content, man. It's very much appreciated. I don't count numbers. I just appreciate anybody that takes the time to listen to little old me and leaves a thumbs up or thumbs down, man. I'm humbled. But as always, let me end y'all with the phrase of pays over here. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Oh, before I do that, Wednesdays in the other space, I'm gonna make a schedule permitting, I'm going to make it a Wednesday's going to be quote unquote the build stuff. That's what I'm kind of aiming for. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'm gonna be kind of busy. I'm gonna make Fridays optional. I'm gonna make Fridays optional. As the Jags win, give me 5. Whatever, Gator girl. Whatever. You need to be worried about that other team down in Florida. You know, y'all ain't looking too good. Y'all ain't looking too good. You know, like y'all drowning in the swamp. But anyway, um, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.